Students by now should be getting back to their school routines, but it can still be an anxious time, not just for students, but for parents too. Now, most of the time, it's about little things like sports, homework, or getting along with friends, but sometimes kids hit you with the really big questions, the ones you kind of feel you don't have a reassuring answer for, like natural disasters, terrorist attacks, even mass shootings. Well, joining us now with some advice on how to handle these tough questions is clinical psychiatrist Cindy Crane. So, Cindy, you and I talked about this issue recently came up for me, and it happened when I didn't expect it. You know, just driving along, taking the children to one of their activities, and bam, it wasn't predicated by any big event in the news.
Right, right. Well, I think it's important to kind of look at some overarching points about anxiety, because that's what we're really talking about. Different ages need different things. So we want to pay attention to, if our kids are younger, just not expanding on what they're asking about. Just listen to what they're saying. And then notice anxious avoidant behavior.
Yeah, I was going to ask you what that is.
Well, so in a fight or flight response, we tend to go, we want to attack, we want to deal with it. The opposite of that, that's the fight, is the flee, avoiding. If it's not there, I don't have to deal with it, put my head in the sand. Well, it's really not helpful to our kids. We want to teach them to face their fears in a healthy way. And then it's really important to also remember that our environment for all of us and how we cope with anxiety matters. So if you're being calm as a parent and reassuring, then our child will be. Or in the case of teens, if it's their peers are putting it into a calm perspective, then they will have a calmer perspective.
And when I see it so much, like when parents drop their kids off at the school door, or they, even in the car, they watch, and you see them sort of taking that deep breath.
Yeah. Well, they're assessing what's going on and deciding for themselves if this feels like a safe environment or not. And let's face it, most of our kids know of shootings that have happened in school or events that have happened in the news, and that can come up for them when they're just about to leave mom's door or about to go into that classroom, and maybe they are flooded with worry thoughts.
Right. And it's funny, you mentioned, of course, just as they're about to leave. So should you brush it off then and say, we'll talk about it later? Or is that not helpful and say, let's talk about it now?
I always encourage us to listen to what our child is actually asking. Don't assume that we know where they're coming from. Ask a couple questions and then reassure them. And again, this does depend on the age of the child, but I'm assuming we're talking about somebody who's younger, is you're going to be okay. I know this is hard for you. I'll see you when you get home from school today.
And I think, there's a question, though, of how honest should you be with your kids about your own fears, because you don't want to pretend like nothing bad is going to happen.
Right.
But you know in your mind that you can't protect them from everything. But I would never think you would tell a kid, look, I can't protect you from everything in the world, but you'll be fine, trust me.
I think it's really important to reinforce to our kids that it's the adult's responsibility around you to make sure that you're safe. And the vast majority of our environments are very safe.
Right.
So to reemphasize that, I think, is critical.
It's also natural and normal for kids to bring these things up. And like we said, it's not just about mass shootings, but it's tornadoes, natural disasters. We just had the September 11th anniversary. Some kids might be tuned into that.
Yeah, no, I was very aware of that when that was happening, and that was coming into my practice. By the way, I'm a psychotherapist, not a psychiatrist.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. But in talk therapy, this comes up a lot. Our anxieties, not just as children, but also as adults. We want to make sure we tell our kids, look, any feelings that come up are okay. Really validating their feelings are important. It is normal to have worries. We all have them. But then put it into perspective. There's a big difference between the possibility of danger and the probability of danger.
And I guess for parents too, you have to, what you're telling your children, you also have to think about that and internalize it. Don't freak out. We got a lot of parents that
can I tell you what a big difference it is? If we as parents and we as adults can have a calm perspective, they turn to us. Even the teenagers turn to us for a balanced perspective. And if we can tell them we really think that in general we've taken incredible strides in making our classrooms safer, that the environment overall is safe, they'll believe us and they'll take that same tone themselves.
All right. Well, Cindy, thanks so much for joining us once again. Always insightful, always interesting.
Really nice to see you.
All right. Thanks so much.